we're evolving to design commercial fit outs and buildings so they'd be designed for end of life.
Yes.
Because then the commercial aspects are going to change in time. You know, leases have make-good clauses. Leases have, any retail shopping centre has a, upgrade clause, an ambient upgrade, a refresh. You know, how can we make the area agile enough or modular enough to, upgrade that space in 3 or 4 years' time? So over time, landfill tipping costs are going to increase.
Yeah.
So I think when we look about sustainability, there's going to be, if you look at forecasting your financials, even for an asset owner, it's going to be a lot more expensive in 5 to 7 years than what it is currently now. So those strategies around designing, not only around product, around glues, around, how we're dealing with offcuts, what's available, and from a take-back perspective, these are things that are shifting in the industry.
Yeah. Welcome, Paul, Rosenberg Vella.
Yeah.
To the pod.
It's very good.
Well, grateful to have you on with us. For those listeners that don't know, crazy that you wouldn't, because this man is everywhere. Prolific. One of the LinkedIn titans, I would say.
Wow. I feel honoured.
Yeah. How high can we raise this ceiling? Revert Group, and you've got a few other DFIT businesses. Welcome to the pod.
Thanks so much. Yeah, it's great to be here.
Have you on.
Really good. Yeah.
Take us back, Paul. So how did you get involved? I mean, obviously, construction businesses across the field. How did you start out? Did you study sustainability? Did you study construction? How did this whole passion for sustainability kick off for you?
It's actually quite a good question. And when I reflect back, I've always been in construction.
Yeah, okay.
Always had that passion around architecture.
Yeah.
My father in particularly, was an architectural joiner.
Really?
So I grew up working in the sort of family business, as you do, and really was exposed from an early age to construction.
Yeah, okay.
Architecture. We used to do a lot of really high-end projects at the time.
Beautiful.
So that sort of was the you could say the path to sort of get into this sector. Sustainability is quite an interesting one because it really evolved quite later on in more recent times.
Yeah.
Do I have a background in environmental or sustainability? No. Am I an expert on carbon? No. But what I did find is that there was a wasted opportunity around material that comes from the industry and unlocking that value in things that we deliver in projects and, everything from flooring to, construction interiors in particularly. And I saw that sort of opportunity and felt, maybe there's something we can take this to the next level. Yeah.
Wow. That's actually very encouraging because a lot of for everyone out there, I guess there's opportunity that you don't have to be a professional and know everything about sustainability to make an impact. So you've made quite a large impact off of the back of just a genuine passion by the sound of it.
Yeah, I think too I think this space, it's about really, what I love about it is actually bringing people together.
Yeah.
And I think it is a new evolving space and everyone contributes little sort of little pieces to the puzzle.
Yeah.
And I think to, have sustainability integrated into projects, integrated into opportunities, everyone's playing that little piece.
Yeah.
And I think what I'm really trying to do, or trying, is to really act as that conduit and putting the dots together on where the opportunities lie. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Very cool. So, Revert Group, do you want to explain to our listeners how you get involved? Is there a builder already on a site and now you're working with them with the take up and recycling? And what is it that Revert Group do? Elevator pitch.
That's right, elevator pitch. Well, it's essentially really trying to get involved on projects on the front end.
Yeah, okay.
Because what I found from my background in the industry, in the head contracting space, in the client PM space, is I was finding a lot of the timing of projects to integrate sustainability often get left late.
Yes.
And the opportunity passes.
Yeah.
In the defit space in particular, I'll give some bit more background how I got into that shortly. But essentially the opportunity for Revert evolved trying to get in early and get involved in that pre-design phase, in that pre-planning phase. It might even be before even consultants have been engaged, and really to unlock the opportunity in terms of what can be reused, what can be rehomed, opportunities around those waste streams. But then we created Revert specifically to have facilities to be able to receive that material, because at the end of the day, it's great to be able to receive a product.
Yeah.
But what do you do with it?
Well, just look at the soft plastics, what happened a few years ago. I don't know who was doing that, but, they were just getting warehoused, that whole program.
Absolutely, that red cycle program.
So I guess there's no point in collecting it and then just having it sit there doing nothing. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. And I think that's, when we look at the word recycle, I think that's actually quite a funny word, because the chain of custody stops where you send it to wherever it goes to and they collect it. It could be going from one facility to a warehouse, then all of a sudden it's recycled.
Yeah.
Is it really? Where's the pathway of that material? Then where did it go?
Yeah.
What happened to that material? How was that material in the getting processed? What was the end use and life cycle for that material? So I think the word recycling sometimes is not really recycling, because in the industry, when you're providing a certificate of wherever you're sending it to, that process doesn't stop just there.
Yeah.
So having facilities to be able to, and other business ALD, which I'll talk about shortly if you like.
Absolutely.
That's you need to be able to receive that material. So essentially, we created Revert specifically for the commercial fit out and refurbishment sector. Because what I was finding in the industry is about 3 or 4 years ago, I could see a big shift coming through in the commercial sector. A lot of asset owners were really diving deep for data. When I was diving deep for that data myself, I was finding a lot of materials were ending up in landfill, or the timing of it in terms of the take-up of that material was done at the wrong timing. So that's sort of how it all evolved. And then it's like, okay, it's great to recycle, but then how do you report on that data as well? How can you provide compelling reporting where you can put your hand on your heart and say, okay, this is the traceability, this is what happened, and hey, by the way, we've turned something which was once upon a time waste into something really cool and sexy.
Yeah.
And ideally, bringing it back into something architectural and cool rather than,
Well, I mean, that kind of leads on to the project I was talking about just before we hit record, about the terrazzo tiles. Do you want to talk? So how does something like that come about?
Absolutely. And I think when we developed our pathways within ALD as well as Revert, what I tried to do is really understand what comes out of the commercial fit-out space or buildings that are getting upgraded. What you'll find, a lot of the materials are quite consistent, like even where we are here right now. You've got plasterboard ceilings, you've got timber slatting, you've got carpet tiles, you've got, some plank flooring, moulding, skirtings, lighting, and so on. So really what I wanted to try and do is identify pathways.
Okay.
And one of the materials that, or two of the materials that come out of the commercial fit-out space, one of them is textiles.
Yep.
Now, people say, okay, does textiles relate to chairs? Does it relate to wall panelling? Textiles, for me, is actually wall insulation, because most commercial fit-outs you're installing polyester wall insulation into walls. Traditionally, insulation, it's light. Will it affect the recycling report very much? Not really. It's probably point of a percent of outcome that you're going to have on a project. But when you look at the density, like you could fill up a whole room like this, full up with insulation over like a 500 or 1,000 square metre floor plate.
Yeah, wow.
So I felt that there was an opportunity with that material to unlock that value. So I started looking around for, I suppose, innovation and what was happening in the industry. Not only that, but also glass. What else could we do with waste glass that comes from commercial fit-out projects? And I had some early interactions with Smart UNSW and Professor Venus Washahala, who actually invented green steel. and utilising the
I've seen a YouTube video.
Yeah, so she's been on Australian Story, and I would say, well, known as the Queen of Waste. So she's a bit of a queen, and very inspirational. Like, and actually watching her and the things that they were trying to do at Smart with waste materials, I thought, the opportunities are there.
Yes,
you just got to really find those opportunities and collaborate. So that's sort of how it evolved in that space, and then when I really identified those waste streams coming out there, I thought, hang on, what a cool story it would be to be able to identify waste streams early on, perhaps do an audit, understand that pathway of where that material's coming out.
Yeah,
not all projects are going to have defit. You're going to have a lot of projects that are clean skin and cold shell fit outs.
yeah.
But if material's coming out, are there opportunities to bring that back into the same project, or are there opportunities to bring that back into the industry?
Yeah.
And for me, the textiles was a hard one because you're always struggling with type of pathways. And when you could see the opportunity to produce a product that could manufactured from post-consumer glass, textiles, construction waste, fit-out glass, then I felt there was an opportunity. So that's probably one of the key projects or products that really sort of amplified sort of the story. Yeah. And in that project that you specifically mentioned about, which was done in collaboration with Hassel for a financial services a business, essentially they also wanted that story.
Yes.
And they wanted to, I think some of these things are driven by the client as well. And I think if you've got stakeholders and clients that are really passionate about sustainability, I'll mention them. I hope that they don't mind. It's IFM investors. So they were really passionate to have a project that they could deliver a project where sustainability was at the forefront.
Right? Yeah, that's so cool.
And, through early workshops and integrations with the designers and design intent, we're able to identify those waste materials, work with the designers through a collaboration process terms of managing that design intent.
Yeah.
And then literally the floor tile that was installed was on the client floor, and travertine was swapped out, and they swapped it out with this product, which again is made from waste.
That's cool.
It's silica free. It was made with raw materials and materials that were destined for landfill and diverted from landfill and brought into their own fit out.
Yeah.
And then they're unlocking the waste material into something, cool and sexy. So,
cool.
that's, it's a great story. Yeah. And I think that's what sustainability is about as well. So it's not just about recycling. It's about that connecting the dots, the DNA of products.
Yes, and I think what I've picked up so far from just hearing you talk about this is that the story element is so big. When people come to that site and they walk through and they see this terrazzo floor, it's like, well, hey, let me tell you about it. Do you know what I mean? Like, there's a story to
Absolutely.
this. Do you know? And I think that really resonates with people.
Yeah. Like there was one other project where, you've got lots of bums on seats, and, I'm sure a lot of deal making happening throughout the years, and, an organisation was refurbing their office, stockbroking firm, and all the chairs are like redundant. And it's like, well, hey, all those deals that we did throughout the years, all that waste material is now in, some material product that's in our breakout area. Like,
that's cool.
Having that sort of connection through the journey as well.
So you're getting involved in that early stage. Is that coming as a client initiative? So is this generally clients that see sustainability or are passionate about sustainability, versus are you seeing sometimes sustainability with developers or clients can be seen as a nice to have? Is there that tension sometimes where you're sort of making business cases for what you can recycle?
I think there's a few different elements I feel of changing in the industry. Certainly the mandatory reporting that's kicked in is probably a big trigger.
Yeah.
So a lot of, whether it's publicly listed companies or, ASX 200 businesses or whoever it might be that fit into that category between Group 1 and Scope 3. which is essentially businesses turning over $500 million per annum or having more 500 staff, needing to deal with their carbon and being carbon neutral and contributing to the initiatives set out and the guidelines put forward. And yeah, sure, there might be some within that sector that it might be a bit of a tick box piece. But what I'm finding in this space, actually, people are wholeheartedly and organisations are wholeheartedly actually getting involved, and I think trying to, I suppose, go from a linear industry into an adaptive reuse and circular economy sort of industry. In my industry is obviously construction, fit out, commercial workspace, asset repositioning. And the conversations you're having with, like 5 years ago, 6 years ago, we wouldn't be sitting down with a design firm talking about how we can take our recycled material and turn it into something else. How can we divert that material? How can we work together? Even that conversation about working together, especially in the demolition or defit space. You're sort of sitting below the food chain there in terms of other priority trades, the architectural joinery, petitions.
And I imagine it would be a very much race to the bottom. They just want the cheapest price.
Yeah.
Just rip it out.
You don't see
the landfill.
Yeah, you don't see if you're doing a cold shell, you don't see, like, it's really about getting it out as cost effective as possible.
Yes.
To create the space to a blank canvas, which then you can fit out and evolve that space into something different. And, and I feel that space also, there is commercial opportunity. So it's not only about, okay, well, is this going to cost more? I feel if you can provide a sustainable pathway, a great story, still be commercially competitive and meet, market pricing. Because at the end of the day, an asset owner in particularly, that's fine. We do have costs and benchmarks we need to work to.
Yes.
But if we can have some low-hanging fruit along the way, there's a few really
quick
easy examples that to me was like a no-brainer.
Yeah, what are they? Are there any that you can share?
Yeah, like an easy one would be like carpet tiles.
Yeah.
Like flooring-related products. Like you will find so many projects will have on the demolition or defit drawings now, no more demo drawings.
So,
you can charge more for that word. Those that are listening, you can charge more for that. Early identification. That's it.
Note to self.
Like carpet tiles, for example, early identification of product. Okay. Is it a Shaw product? Is it an Interface product? Is it a Milliken product? Is it a Signature product? Like, if we can identify those products early on, now not all carpet tiles are going to come up easy.
Yeah.
Right? Some are going to be really heavily bonded to the to the slab, but in most cases, you can pull them up, relatively easy.
Yeah.
The cost of the increase in landfill in Victoria alone this year, there was an EPA levy increase of nearly 30%.
Yeah, I saw that come through.
So when we look at, if you've got carpet tiles on a fit out, that's like probably one of the heavier items from a weight perspective to dispose. And then also too, what's it doing to the environment from an environmental perspective? Again, I'm not an environmentalist, I don't have a background in that, but it's common sense. Right?
Yeah.
So if we could identify that carpet tile early on, and I'll use Shaw as an example. Shaw have got an EcoWorks product, that take-back program. So essentially, all that needs to happen is making sure that the carpet tiles don't have any debris on them, which is quite easily if the construction program is derived around when they should come up.
Yeah.
And essentially, palletise those carpet tiles and send them back to the stewardship program of that manufacturer.
Yeah.
Traditionally, the carpet tiles are just getting lifted and
Chucked into a skip.
thrown straight into a skip.
Yeah.
Is it quicker? Maybe a little bit. But at the end of the day, is it going to impact on the site duration or construction program a lot? Probably, very minimal.
Yeah.
Also, too, the site's cleaner. The commercial, instead of paying $350, $400 a tonne to dispose of the material, a lot of manufacturers will take back the product.
Yeah.
Sometimes not even free of cost. So again, that's like a really good opportunity. You might find a site that is a new building that's just gone up, warm shell, new incoming tenants come in, don't like the carpet tiles, they want to have some polished concrete floor finish, whatever it might be, perfectly good carpet tiles. Why don't we rehome those?
Yeah.
Maybe there's an opportunity to give them to a charity. Maybe there is an opportunity that they can go somewhere else.
Yeah.
Someone might be fitting out a spec suite somewhere else and could use 200 or 300 square metres of brand new carpet tiles.
Yeah, literally. We were talking about this with Ada Mellon from Interface.
Yeah.
The amount of sites we go to and it's brand new carpet tile because of the make good clause. You know, when a tenant moves out and gives back a warm shell, we install brand new carpet tiles. And then, you know, it could be a month later, we're getting an opportunity to tender on a completely new fit out, including demolition of what we just installed.
And you're like, what is going
unbelievable.
on?
Yeah. Same thing with ceilings. Like when you look at ceilings, like, okay, let's a new grid ceiling, let's remove it and put an open exposed soffit ceiling. You know what I mean? Like that's that. So the same thing with furniture. Like you'll see so many projects that you'll go to and there'll be an existing commercial workspace. Yes, I think we've got to be really careful about furniture in that commercial environment. We're not shifting the problem to someone else.
Yeah.
And I feel that happens a little bit in the industry where we're going to rehome something. What's really the quality of that good? What's the life longevity of that of that item? You know, it's great to give it to a charity. It's great to find another home for it. But are we just giving that problem to someone else?
Not to just be thrown out.
Yeah, so is it worth just to make that decision there and saying, well, look, yes, we're not going to rehome it, but we can recycle it. We can deconstruct it and turn it into something else. But like you'll see a lot of perfectly good commercial furniture.
Yeah. Well, these chairs came from a
they
Collins
were
Street
Deep
project.
There you go. I like it. See? So,
And we thought, wow, they are perfect for a podcast with Paul.
there you go. I feel honoured to sit on it. But you'll find even this table, perfectly good tables that might have like a really good base on them.
Yeah.
All right, they might be scratched. So is that an opportunity?
Yeah.
So I feel in this space, and everyone's doing a little bit like when you even look at the furniture market, like you've got organisations like Loop, you've got organisations like Cultivated, you've got a few different types of furniture businesses that are really focusing on adaptive reuse. And that might be just modifying the item, putting a new top, using a different base.
Yes.
Yeah.
But everyone's doing a little bit.
Yes.
You know,
Is there a platform that has like defit furniture or items listed that someone can, like a charity could go to look at?
Yeah, look, I think there's a few organisations that are sort of slowly putting things together. I think also warehousing and stock warehousing also becomes a bit of an issue.
Yeah, for the quantities.
Yeah, so I feel if you're what I'm finding at the moment in the industry, it's sort of organically happening a little bit.
Okay.
Where you all of a sudden on a project, you've done an audit, then all of a sudden a design firm's reached out. And this is also what I'm finding shifting in the industry where people are reaching out saying, hang on, have you got 300, whatever brand they are, task chairs adaptive reuse task chairs that we want to integrate in our project. And it's like, actually, I've just ordered 360. Here's a photo. What do you think? Yeah. So that ability, sometimes does the timing work? Sometimes does it? Yeah. Sometimes it doesn't. Yeah. Is there an opportunity to get those items and have them in a swing space somewhere else?
Yeah.
And sometimes that does financially still work.
Yeah.
But I think you're finding now more and more websites are coming out and evolving to be sort of that platform. I guess that is maybe a good idea for business idea.
Yeah, alarm bells in your head are like.
I guess the biggest barrier there is warehousing. It's like you need not all projects will align when this chair becomes available, finding someone to take it, and there's 1,000 chairs.
Oh,
do you know what I mean?
Yeah, and there's been projects which have also transpired, which I won't go into some of those projects, but it doesn't necessarily mean they've had that right outcome because you end up having, large warehouses full of old redundant furniture that's very hard to shift. So I feel these models we've got to be really careful because then at the end of the day it still might go to landfill.
Yeah.
So the things I'm finding in the industry, but the appetite. As I said earlier, like a carpet tile is a very clear example of a easy win.
Yes.
If it's planned properly.
Yeah. Yeah. Is there I wonder if there's any, like if there was a regulatory or policy, a red flag that if you could change anything and make it mandatory, what would there be something that you would implement?
I think it's a little bit hard because I think every project is unique in its own right.
Yeah.
And sometimes, whilst we also want to be sustainable, it might not always be possible.
Yeah.
I think benchmarking, though, early on to be making sure that there's, like I won't call it mandatory pre-planning, but I think that ability to pre-plan on a project around the pathways that are coming into a project or out, I think, would be good in the industry to sort of change. I think having minimum targets and a little bit of that accountability, that we're not just sort of, I won't use the word greenwashing, but just using that tick box process. But I feel that, there's having those measurables becoming sort of, I feel the industry is going to push us in that way, that it does become mandatory anyway.
I agree.
Yeah.
Well, and I wonder is that kind of the strategy behind the increase to the waste levy?
Absolutely.
Because it's like, well, people just follow the path of least resistance and the cheapest often. And so if that then doesn't become the cheapest option, and it then enables people like Revert Group to sell a service basically to take waste, then maybe that then becomes the path of least resistance. If that makes sense.
Absolutely. I think once you've got a financial penalty or some type of commercial cost, let's use the example as well. What is it going to cost us? Not now. What's it going to cost us in 5 years' time? So let's go back to discussion before around flooring. All right, we like flooring.
Yeah, we like flooring too.
There's nothing better.
We like cleaning it too.
Yeah. So when we look at flooring, we look at the
Shameless plug.
I know it's a bit that way.
Commercially and soon to be residentially.
When we look at carpet tiles, you've got floor grinding. So in most commercial buildings, when you pull up some form of carpet tile or vinyl, you've got a glue under that tile. That glue needs to be ground down. All right. When we look in the industry and we're talking about silica, a lot of obviously the media have really pushed, around reconstituted stones and engineered stones. But what a lot of people don't know is all cementitious products do have silica in them.
Yes.
It's lower levels of silica. Would it affect you like reconstituted stone or other products? More than likely not, but it's still harmful.
Yeah.
In Victoria, and this is, I think, a bit frustrating because you've got EPAs that have got different compliance requirements and work safe requirements in different states. I simply don't know why we just don't have one federal approach.
I agree.
It makes no sense to have a different approach in Adelaide versus Victoria, and Victoria being the most regimented, compliant, requirement. And when we look at floor grinding dust, yes, it is from floor grinding, it is an industrial waste.
Yeah.
But the recommendation and advice from WorkSafe and the EPA, it needs to be disposed as hazmat.
Yeah.
So double bags, double line bags,
Asbestos tape.
Yeah, even what's that doing? Once upon a time, people would be floor grinding on a construction site, and then there'd be a sparky, roughing in, lights and cabling. No mask. The floor grinding contractor's got a mask. So yes, there's not only those environmental risks, but then those safety risks.
Yeah.
So disposing that material now, it's a reportable waste stream. This is best practice. I know there's still a lot of things happening in the market that are not best practice, but it's a reportable waste stream, and it needs to be. Is it recycled? No. Where does it go? Unfortunately, in a hole in the ground.
Yeah. Can't really reuse it.
Can't really reuse it. Is it going to become airborne once you process it? Absolutely. So are there opportunities to do something with it in the future? Potentially.
Yeah.
Do you put that back into precast, tilt panel manufacturing? That I don't know.
Yeah.
But what we do know is at the moment to get rid of that floor grinding dust is anything from, you're talking circa $1,000 a tonne.
Yeah.
My question is then, what's that going to cost in 5 years' time? So this space and what I'm finding in this industry, we're evolving to design commercial fit outs and buildings so they'd be designed for end of life.
Yes.
Because then the commercial aspects are going to change in time. Leases have make-good clauses. Leases have, any retail shopping centre has a, upgrade clause, an ambient upgrade, a refresh. How can we make the area agile enough or modular enough to upgrade that space in 3 or 4 years' time. So over time, landfill tipping costs are going to increase.
Yeah.
So I think when we look about sustainability, there's going to be, if you look at forecasting your financials, even for an asset owner, it's going to be a lot more expensive in 5 to 7 years than what it is currently now. So those strategies around designing, not only around product, around glues, around, how we're dealing with offcuts, what's available and from a take-back perspective, these are things that are shifting in the industry.
Yeah.
And are there currently any trends that you're seeing? Obviously beyond the wide education and collaboration between everyone, are there sustainability trends that you're seeing sort of throughout, or like we're seeing a lot of cork being installed, being as labelled as a more sustainable product than, I don't know, like a vinyl tile, let's say.
And installing carpet tiles without adhesives.
Yeah.
Lock dots. The lock dots, I think.
Interface have intertacts.
I think the lock dots, I think information is power as well. So I think that's where a lot of designers are now shifting to designs that actually have considerations around defit. So you definitely are seeing that shift. As mentioned before, and a few years ago, a business in recycling and defit won't be sitting at the table with a design firm.
Yeah.
My background is in head contracting. Love that design process and pre-con process. But, you very rarely you're sitting, that's for joiners to sit down at those tables at those meetings, AV consultants, finishers trades. But now what you're finding is designers are getting really proactive and saying, okay, well, it's not only the carpet tile. What glue do we use? So in that project that we spoke about before with the floor tile, it's great to have a, silica-free floor tile with a great story.
Yeah.
When the silica ban came in, what glue do you use? Because all glues have silica in them.
Yeah.
Take-back program on the tile, absolutely. So a lot of the pathway partners that I work very closely with, one of the big things is also looking at what stewardship they have on their take-back program. If we're going to implement a product that's sustainable, we need to make sure at end of life it's got the ability to be taken back and what life cycles can you get out of that product. But at the same time, we need to also really look at what glues are we using, what products, what bonding systems are we using. So in that case, we had to look at a silica-free glue, silica-free grout.
Yeah.
The same thing with the carpet tiles. Those lock dots are, great answer, because at the end of a lease or when that floor is getting taken up, you're literally going to save, quite a fair few $1,000s, if not tens of thousands of dollars.
Not having to grind.
Not having to grind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've had an interesting experience in the past where, I saw some sort of tier 1 contractors banning or outright banning polished concrete in some of their fit outs because of the grinding, the silica involved. But then, carpeted areas, or areas that require renovation, you have to grind. So there's sort of some grinding happening, over here, but not to a polished level. And there's this interesting dichotomy between, do some good and less on others. Have you seen or experienced much of that?
Haven't seen. I've been in that sort of situation before. But I feel that certain especially tier 1 head contractors are very cautious, which is a good thing.
Yeah,
I feel in the industry, while sometimes for a smaller subcontractor it can be frustrating for the systems and processes. At the end of the day, I think we all learn from the tier 1s.
Yeah.
As we evolve as businesses and we improve from those tier 1 systems and processes. Sometimes it can be frustrating, but at the same time, I think we'll find, maybe some shifts around that potentially. Yeah.
Have you found the sustainability picture different state to state? I know that you work across Australia. We were talking just before, but have you found it to be a similar message around trying to implement recycling and smarter material choices?
I think the hard part in various different states is sometimes a solution. So some organisations will be very proactive in their sustainability initiatives nationally, but you can't expect to take a material all the way from Northern Territory and drive it all the way down to the east coast of Australia. Some things are pendant on the solution available in the state. I think organisations that do have national presence do try to roll out a national approach.
Yeah.
But then there's sometimes conversations that saying, well, look, unfortunately, there's a limitation.
Yeah.
New buildings coming out of the ground, definitely, targeting, wells, targeting Green Star, which is a really positive thing, especially with all the new sort of Green Star fit out guidelines that have been implemented as well into market and really pushing that space around adaptive reuse and sustainability in construction, especially commercial construction. The asset owners are the same. I find they'll have a lot of, a lot of reporting processes that need to be consistent. There's two parts really. There's the material use. There's also the reporting data, and then how we're measuring that. Yeah. So I'm finding whether you're doing a job in South Australia or in Queensland, still the reporting needs to be there. Yeah.
So you have a lot going on.
It sounds like.
There's a lot. You've got a lot of plates just spinning, it sounds like. What are you most excited about in what you're currently doing?
I'm excited about, or even today, when you think about the opportunity, 3 or 4 years ago, would be sitting right now in a podcast having a conversation about, how the industry is transforming and changing. I think that's exciting.
For us too.
Yeah.
We couldn't sleep last night.
There you go. And neither could I, because I was working.
Yeah.
The conversations and the ability to bring people together, I think that's really exciting. There's a lot of, you've got the Green Design Show coming up. Yep. You've got, various different panel discussions around sustainability. I find we're going from a linear industry to, that adaptive reuse and circular economy industry, which I think is really cool.
Yeah.
So a lot of those things are really evolving and changing. Yeah. You're meeting new people along the way and building new relationships.
Yeah.
You're collaborating with some real, cool and innovative, manufacturers that are, really trying to unlock opportunities in, yes, there's that waste piece and that environmental benefit. Yeah. But, turning, a product, there's a company I collaborate with that, that I work together closely with them on spool reels, diverting spool reels from that electricians use to rough in.
Yeah.
And they make an architectural panel product.
Really?
So, once upon a time, you wouldn't be talking to those manufacturers. So I think a lot of those, initiatives and opportunities are really, coming to market and helping people to come together. Yeah. And then that whole defit space. So we're not going demolition is an old word. It's I think demolishing and defitting and segregating and implementing those processes. So the other business ALD, which I'm the national manager for, essentially that was where the conduit evolved for Revert, because our core business, we would strip out nearly, just in commercial workspace alone, more than 500,000 square metres per annum of just commercial workspace.
Wow.
So when you look at all those materials that come out of, commercial workspace, hospitality projects, hotel projects, education, healthcare, at the end of the day, it's quite exciting from coming from a space where I was once upon a time delivering and building sexy fit outs to then pulling them out and then upcycling that material. I think that's really exciting.
Yeah, that is cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for your time.
That's all right. Thank you.
I know you're a very busy man, but we really appreciate having you on the pod.
No, thanks so much. Great. And we'll do it again soon.